of this portfolio is to show to reflect the various tests to determine our current health to prevent any chronic diseases as early as possible. These tests range from very accessible to lab work. We can compare these tests to find possible health status of the person and find an appropriate activity prescription. The agenda is health, and this is our agenda. To start with, we're doing health screening. Why do we do it? Is because we want the patient's safety and we want to know that they need any current services after this session. This also gets an idea of the patient's lifestyle in case doing any physical activity or they're doing a sedentary lifestyle. And this is also if you're suited for certain activities. Again, we're calling if you're doing a sedentary, are you recovering from an injury, or you doing any certain reason. This is required for participation and the records that they visited us. For the documents of consent, we're doing the part Q, the medical screening, and the exercise questionnaire. Over here, I did the part Q, the three tests, and over here, while I don't have any chronic diseases currently, I do have a family history of diabetes and high blood pressure. Moving on for the anthrometrics and baseline. The reason that we do it is because they're non-invasive, quick measurements that will determine if we are under the obese, overweight, or underweight class. This is also to find if we're at high blood pressure or low blood pressure, to find any links to cardiovascular and metabolic health. We're starting with the blood pressure charts, and while I don't have any documents right now, I had to do it on my own time, due because the results of my documents are from my other classmates. Over here, my blood pressure is 125 over 80, which is elevated. I'm, I'm 160 centimeters. My mean arterial blood pressure is around 95 mercury in milligrams, which is normal. My weight is 95 kilograms, which makes me fall under the obesity chart of the BMI. My heart rate is at 70 beats per minute, which is on the normal side. And my max heart rate is at 99, 199. Moving on with our weight to my hip to waist ratio. This is not an accurate but important epidemiology for our BMI. It depicts the morbidity and mortality level. And while it isn't accurate because it lumps all the body components, and that can be because of our water weight, it adds bone density, it adds the minerals that we have, and also we have the fat the fat weight in the muscle. So I included two charts. I for the BMI, I added that the BIA, which is the machine made test. I am at the 36.7 category of the BMI, which puts me at obesity type 2. For the waist to hip ratio, I included also two, which is the BIA puts me at 1.97, while the human made test of the hip to waist it puts me at point 877, which is a large deviation and still puts me as an over. We're moving on for the cardiovascular fitness. The reason that we're doing it is after we depleted our glycolysis and a PCR for short but explosive exercises for type 2 fibers, our body starts using oxidation system, which includes fats and lactates. Higher VO2 max means a better cardiovascular fitness, which means a higher VO2 max also means a better oxygenated blood for our muscles and organs, which we which in for focus we use our muscle and brains during exercise. I did the 1 mile jog test. in which puts me in an average category because I finished at 14 minutes with 3 seconds. For for the boost protocol, I finished at 13 minutes with 12 seconds with a recovery of 3 minutes with 51 seconds. Moving on for the body composition. The reason that we do it is because we want to test the percentage in our abdomen, which is the higher it means, the higher likelihood is for cardiovascular diseases. It is proven that visceral fat is far worse than subcutaneous because it sits on our organs, and it means that we're at a higher likelihood for cardiovascular related diseases and conditions. We know that it's fat because muscle is hard and dense, while the fat is higher volume and softer. To prove this, we use the skin fold test and the hydrostatic weight testing. For the skin fold, we use it because our body composition means that the fat disperses in different parts of the body. For example, our abdomen or thighs. The purpose is to find the fat mass percentage from the fat free mass. And again, the skin fold has some human made errors because it puts me at the average category, which is a little bit contradictory because in the hydrostatic one, it puts us at an obese category at a 34.55 percentage, while the high skin fold puts us at 31 percentage. Finally, we're moving to the skeletal fitness. The reason that we use this is because of the energy systems that we use is a PCR and a glycolysis systems, which is better suited for explosive, short-lasting exercises. Focusing on the type 2 fibers and how developed the type compared to the type 1 fibers can be like you can have better type 1 fibers for aerobic tests, but at the same time you can be weak on the type 2 aerobic tests. Anaerobic. That means that if you haven't hired a higher anaerobic, anaerobic or anaerobic test means a higher recruitment rate, which means a higher strength. And higher strength means more independence and safety, especially for our aging patients. Over here, I did three tests, which over here I used the hand grip test, which I scored well below and well below. That isotonic test, I actually have have higher strength in my legs because instead of using the bench press, which is the direct, instead of using that, I did 145 kilograms. For the vertical jump, I tried to reach around 33.02 centimeters, which is around 1 foot. And continuing on for the test, for the sprint test, I had an average of 5.71 meters per second. And the mean of doing the 40 yards is 7 seconds average. For the aerobic cycling test, I had a 62.4 percentage of fatigue and total repetitions for the pedals it was 29. For results, it means that because I have a higher BMI, I have a higher probability of chronic diseases. At the same time, the BMI is more accurate because I resulted high in visceral abdominal fat from our waist to hips ratio, and for our aerobic results, which that means the jog test, I had average to low results. In the other hand, I scored higher in our lower body strength for the anaerobic tests for that I did. I, but for the hand grip test, I resulted low, which just means I have a lower. upper body strength. For recommendations, I want to use it. I want to use this summer now that I don't have any jobs, any classes, to focus on my physical wellness, on exercising. This means I can be doing 3 to 5 times a week, be in a calorie deficit, start steady on my exercises because I was living in a sedentary lifestyle, but it's preferred to have a moderate to vigorous exercise. Finally, I want to focus more on my upper body and aerobic exercises. That means I am doing weight training. This has to be fun and accessible for experience and to have a larger impact for a lifestyle. This means I can be sticking better for a weight loss journey. Thank you so much for being part of my presentation.